Hey guys, I actually need to run over to Target right now and I wanted to talk to you for a minute. This is obviously not, makeup and looking cute. I'm actually really bothered by what I'm going to talk about in this video, and I think it's going to probably annoy a lot of you as well. I know I've talked a fair amount about Brianna K on my channel the past week or so, more than I usually discuss her. I give commentary on all kinds of different YouTubers and influencers, but I have covered her, a few times in the recent week or so. And I'm going to talk about her again today because this whole Patreon thing, I think that this might end up making a lot of her very loyal subscribers and followers turn against her. And let me tell you why. So I received a message today from one of her longtime subscribers, and she wanted to share her story with me. And anytime someone wants to share their story with me, I'm all ears. Tell me about it and let's talk about it. I want to hear it. So she sort of, told me the beginning, and then she kind of told me what happened with this Patreon thing. And I was absolutely just disgusted by what Brianna K did to this subscriber. So we already know that she is pitching this Patreon thing like it's a safe space for mental health awareness and to share stories and all of this kind of stuff, when she's not qualified to have that anyway, because she's not a doctor or anything like that. Secondly, Patreon is a paywall. Like I mentioned before, it's not private. You're just putting it behind a paywall and you're charging people to listen to your problems, which I don't like. And I know my opinion might be different than yours or the person next to you, and that's fine. But the overarching issue here is that she is trying to charge people to listen to her story and have a place to share theirs, even though, let's be honest, none of these influencers that have large audiences, they don't really care about you and your story. I hate to be, don't shoot the messenger here, but I am being completely honest. Out of 399,000 YouTube subscribers, do you think that if Mary Jo comes and tells Brianna K her story, do you think that Brianna K is actually going to think about Mary next week or next month? No, she's not going to. And I could almost bet money on that fact. And it's just going to be a response filled with fake positivity, fake love, and then she's moving on with her day. So you guys know the issue that I have with influencers is the amount of fake. It's fake everything. It's money hungry. It's a bunch of money hungry minions in my personal opinion. And I don't care for money hungry minions, as a lot of you y'all already know that. And I'm sorry if my thoughts are all over the place. I just cannot believe, once I get to the meat and potatoes of this, you guys will understand why I'm so just like flabbergasted and annoyed at this whole situation. So Brianna, pushes the Patreon, and she comes out with her first video, and it's everywhere. So it's no secret. She came out with a video saying that her issue and her big secret is that she had an ED. And if you guys don't know what an ED is, I'll put it on the screen for you to elaborate a little bit. But if you look back on her Instagram, that's not a secret. She has shared that she's had issues in the past. So it's not a secret, which, fine, but don't say it's a secret if it's not a secret. You know what I mean? Sorry, we're just going to have to sit here for 2 seconds. The thing that really grinds my gears about this is that in her video, she said that she basically said that her issue was so much harder than an alcoholic because at least an alcoholic cannot put food in or not put alcohol in the house and they're okay. First of all, how dare you say that your issue is any worse than anyone else's, especially when you're dealing with the topic of addiction. I truly cannot believe that she would even have the audacity to try to compute this and try to make it make sense. That is astonishing to sit there and say, well, at least you can get rid of all the alcohol. Do you realize how devastating and detrimental and hard and just the darkest days people that suffer with alcoholism or drug addiction go through? It's not just throw away the substance and you're good to go. I'm not saying that this is the worst and this is the second worst and this is the third worst. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is, how dare you sit up on your paywall of a platform and divulge this information and make your audience feel like, well, if you have an addiction problem, mine is worse, and here's a fake solution for yours. That's disgusting. We're going to continue this conversation. Give me 2 seconds and I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm back. I really wanted to hurry back so that I still have some daylight so I can talk to you for a few more minutes while I make my way towards home. All that I got at Target was we needed a new oven mitt because we've had ours for 5 or 6 years now. And I went to wash it the other day and I saw these little brown spots on it and I was like, oh, it's probably just like pasta sauce or something. Something gross that's just like dried onto the mitt. And I was wrong. And when I went to try to spot clean it with a little brush, the material disintegrated. And now there's exposed cotton, and I don't know, call me crazy, but that sort of seems like a fire hazard to just have this fluffy cotton flying out of an oven mitt. And it really wasn't that much to replace it. I spent, I think, $6 for a new one. But let's get back to the subject of this video. So Brianna K makes, let me open this. In this video on her Patreon, Brianna K decides to make alcoholism seem like it's just an inconvenience and, oh, you're an alcoholic, just get rid of the alcohol in your house, you're good to go. An ED is so much harder. And I have not experienced either of those. So I am not speaking from personal experience. However, what I can say is that if you are pitching this as if you want it to be a place where your subscribers can feel safe and feel like they have a community of people or whatever kind of BS she's trying to pitch this as, I don't buy any of it. If you're trying to do that, though, that is not the way that you start the conversation by saying, oh, well, I have it so bad. I, me. It's so bad for me. Feel bad for me. Listen to me. Listen to my problems. Send me nice messages. Send me the emails. Tell me how bad you feel for me. And I'll tell you, if you're an alcoholic, just get rid of all the alcohol in your house and you're good to go. you don't have it as hard as me, me, me. And what I can say is me, me, me does not appreciate making other people feel like that. And I'm not the one with a fucking platform trying to act like I'm some sort of advocate for mental health when I'm not qualified to do so. I personally think that this is so bad. This isn't even like, a lot of times we'll say, oh, that's a bad look. That's no good. This is so far past being a bad look. This could, if it continues and if it gains traction, and if she continues to make people feel the way that she made this one specific person that I talked to feel, this could be career ending for her. And it's all at her own hands. It is her problem, and I don't feel bad. I have zero sympathy for people that take such sensitive subjects and exploit them for money and views. And when you tell your story, you are telling it in a way where you are expecting attention and sympathy and money and views and, nice messages and cute emojis. On top of it, you're also pairing it by saying, my problem is worse than yours, and here is horrible advice for anyone who's an alcoholic. No. So now that I told you a little bit about kind of what happened on her Patreon with this video, let's talk about the aftermath. So this individual, who we will name her Jill, I don't know. Jill decided to leave a very heartfelt comment for Brianna, and Jill decided to say, this is my story. I am an alcoholic, and your video has affected me in this way, and here's how I feel about it. So she decided to leave this comment, and you guys, I've seen the comment with my own two eyes. I'm not going to put it up on the screen because I don't have permission from the person that I talked to do so. This was a very positive comment. It was not filled with profanities, insults, attacks, derogatory terms or languages. It was not putting Brie down. It was not any of those things. In fact, if I would have left the comment, it would have sounded a little bit more direct. The comment was not any of those things. I am telling you guys that. I am being 110% honest, as I always am. I saw it with my own two eyes. Now, if I was on the receiving end of that comment, I would have contacted that subscriber and offered to have a conversation about it, because if I am making a mess, then I'm also going to take the time to clean the mess up. And maybe that's just how I operate, but when it comes to people not liking your opinion and maybe not liking you too much, that's one thing. You're going to come across that anywhere, on the internet, whether you're doing, you're showing how to garden, you're showing how to, do makeup, you're doing commentary. Everyone is going to have at least someone that just doesn't like them. I've mentioned that many times on my channel. However, if your content itself is directly affecting someone because you put your story above someone else's, and they came to you and said, I have experienced ABC in life, and this is how I feel, and it was a very long, heartfelt comment, then I would have wanted to have a conversation with that person and try to right my wrongs. And even if it wasn't for the sake of, I don't want to lose them as a subscriber, let's just take the subscriber part of it out, and let's talk about just human empathy and human decency to be able to recognize that you deeply affected someone in a negative way. You know, it's kind of how it's the same thing how a couple of months ago when I made the mistake of calling Bambi an idiot in a comment, you know, I recognized that that was hurtful to her because of a video where she expressed her hurt over that. And it affected me. And at that point, I'll be really honest, I didn't care about the losing her as a subscriber because I just took all that out of the equation. I looked at it like my words and something that I did affected someone to the point where they made a video and poured their heart out. So the same thing applies to this comment that Brianna got. And this wasn't even on YouTube. This was a paying member of her Patreon. So the comment is made. And instead of it being handled, it was ignored. And the slap in the face, the biggest insult I have ever heard of. Do you guys want to know what Brianna K did? Brianna K kicked this individual out of her Patreon for bullying. Brianna K kicked her out of the Patreon for bullying. When this individual, all that she did was decide that she wanted to leave a heartfelt comment telling Bri how much this video affected her as someone who has dealt directly with the disease of alcoholism. I actually kind of wish that I was making that up because it sounds so absolutely ridiculous. I don't even understand, you know, evidently from what I've gathered, you know, there's some things going on in the back end where Patreon is sort of reviewing this decision, because when the problem is once you're pegged as a bully, once you are pegged as a bully on an online forum, whether it's Patreon, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, once that username is associated with someone who has violated terms of service, terms of use, whatever the case is, that is ridiculous, especially if it's under a lie. It's not even fact-based. It's not even what actually happened. So I think that's pretty crazy to think that someone like Bri can pick a comment that she didn't like and say, this person is bullying me. Take this the way that you guys want to take it, but she's not only is she not qualified, but she, in my opinion, is also not intelligent enough to lead a conversation and lead a community of, let's talk about mental health and well-being. I don't understand what these people are paying her Patreon for. Evidently, there's a $50 tier. I'm going to look into it myself to confirm it, but you know, I believe this person because they were in her Patreon. So there's a $50 tier, and the comments that Bri decided that she was okay with were people praising her and leaving heart emojis. And you know, you would think if it's paired with a paywall, I don't know, I would expect a little bit something. I'd expect a little something more than a generic oh, you're so great kind of response. Call me crazy for expecting a little something more than a generic response, but I just don't understand what people are paying for. You are paying someone to listen to their problems and have them tell you that yours are an easy fix and theirs aren't. And if we're going to tell an alcoholic that just to get rid of all the alcohol in their house and they'll be just fine, then that could be applied to a lot of different, addictions or issues. That's like telling someone that's addicted to gambling to stay away from casinos. That's like telling someone that is addicted to shopping to cut up all their credit cards. It's dumb. It's not even an educated statement to make. Even if you're not qualified to make these statements, you're not even making an educated one at that. I'm not here for the nonsense, you guys. You guys have definitely gathered that by now if you've been around my channel for any period of time. But this issue with Bri just set me over the edge, if I'm being quite honest. And I always feel like I have to say, I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm not not trying to gatekeep anyone. But I have figured out that there is a distinguishing line between gatekeeping and speaking against problematic content that could potentially be harming someone's mental health, their confidence, their finances, what they think of themselves, their self-esteem. If someone's content could be negatively affecting someone else, then we as a YouTube community have every right to speak against it and have a dialogue and have a conversation about it. And it's a long-standing thing here that a lot of the family vlogger content is not only harmful to the children, it's harmful to other parents that might try to imitate what they see these other families doing. There can just be a flurry of issues when it comes to certain content on YouTube. So I'm not always going to repeat, I'm not a gatekeeper, but because that just gets repetitive and annoying, I do believe that there is a line in the sand where we do have a right to talk about it. Either way, please don't, if you're going to pay anyone to help you with your mental health, please pay a professional. Do not pay for these courses or classes or self-help, nonsense. Please seek a professional's advice, or if you haven't tried to talk to a family friend, talk to a family friend. Don't take advice from these idiotic influencers who are just living these illegitimate lifestyles that are not realistic for even a fraction of the country. It's not normal. It's not something that should be, goals or relationship goals or whatever. No, because it's not. It's not real. It's all fake, and that's why we talk about it. So I do apologize for this video being a little bit more serious in nature. I did really want to talk to you guys about this because as soon as I talked to this girl today, from the time that I talked to her to the time that I turned on my camera, my jaw was my jaw was on the floor, but I was equally as disgusted as I was just done and over it. I already knew that the Patreon was going to be bad, but I didn't know it was going to be this bad. I hope that Brianna K can really come to terms and maybe think about her impact and how shoving out this toxic positivity is not going to do anything good for anyone, and people are onto her games. They are, figuring out her scheme, and if it keeps up, people are going to continue to talk about it, and that's just the way it's going to go. I'll also leave you guys a couple comments here for the end of the video where people mentioned her going from 400 to 399,000 subscribers, and it's, again, toxic positivity talking about, oh, I wish nothing but the best for people, blah, 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 blah. It's like, lady, they're leaving because they don't like your content anymore, and you are turning into a money grabby, nonsensical influencer who is trying to put a fake mental health awareness group behind a paywall. People aren't leaving because they just one day decided that they don't like you anymore. Get real. So either way, I'm going to wrap up this video here, but if you liked it, please leave a like and a comment, and if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.